Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Planning for Profit 2, the online Advanced Whole Farm Planning course. This is week 1, your first webinar, and the topic is strategic planning. I'm Colette D. Phelps, and I'm going to facilitate the webinar this evening. So today we have two speakers, Sandy Matheson, who's with the Pacific Northwest Center for Holistic Management and Matheson Farms in Bellingham, Washington, and Diane Green with Green Tree Naturals up in Sandpoint, Idaho. And I have Craig's picture here on the slide today because Craig has worked very closely with Sandy in putting together today's presentation, and he's actually out moving some goats, so he wasn't able to present himself, and Sandy's going to present for him, and we'll have Craig on with us live next week. You can see pictures of myself and Cinda Williams. We're in the background facilitating the webinar and running the questions and doing the recording. So some basic tips to help make this webinar experience the best it can be for you. If you can close all the other programs running on your computer, that's going to optimize your experience viewing the webinar. If you have a lot of competition going on and you don't have a really strong internet connection in terms of a lot of things happening running through your computer, you can actually have a delay in the sound or the transitions of the slides that's coming from your computer, not from the presenter's computer. Also, if you're running into any problems with clarity and speed of your sound, you can switch to the phone. There's a call-in number that was provided in your welcome email. If you decide to call in and listen to the webinar on the telephone, we suggest that you mute your computer sound so you don't get feedback. Throughout the presentations tonight, you can type questions for speakers into your question box, and you can also type questions in there if you need help with viewing or sound, and I can answer them. The way that we'll work our presentations tonight is first, Sandy will speak. At the end of her presentation, I will read the questions that you've typed in to her, and she'll be able to answer them. Then we'll move on to Diane's presentation, and she'll be talking about SWOT analysis. We'll have a question and answer period after Diane's presentation, and then I'll go over some course logistics and talk to you about what you should expect coming up the next week. Overall for the course, we hope that you can set aside 5 to 8 hours to work on the course each week. In that, we're including the 2 hours that you're on the webinar. We hope that you've logged into the course Moodle website and looked around. To do that, you need to create an account. Let me know that you've created the account so I can manually enroll you in the course. Once I've done that, then the course is going to come up when you log in under your courses, and you'll be able to access all the materials on the website. There is an Introduce Yourself discussion forum in the first section of the website, and there's an assignment around introducing yourself with points to cover in your short introduction. If you can do that, that would be great. It's a really good opportunity for everyone to get to know each other, and also it's going to help you learn how to navigate the discussion forum, and we have several assignments that are related to your posting in the discussion forum. So it's good practice. We'd also like you to get your financial data together, and if you have a business or whole farm plan, to dig that out, because we'll want to refer to your actual data and have you use it throughout the course. And you should have received in the mail 2 texts for this class. One is the Organic Farmer's Business Handbook, and it came with a DVD and a CD, and then At Home with Holistic Management. So your readings and assignments will be related to those texts. We'll also have some supplemental readings and assignments on the website throughout the course. and we'll be using the spreadsheets and some of the other materials that are in the CD and on the DVD. And we hope that you've been able to begin your week 1 reading assignment. You do have a lot of reading the first week or two, but it's really interesting, and I think it'll go pretty fast. There's a lot of diagrams, and it's directly related to your assignments this week. So we're going to go ahead and hand the presentation off to Sandy Matheson. She's going to be talking about strategic planning and developing a holistic context and holistic goal. So, Sandy?
Yes, thank you very much, Colette. I am Sandra Matheson, and I'm actually I'm a beef producer up here in Bellingham, Washington, and I also am the president of the Pacific Northwest Center for Holistic Management, and an educator in holistic management, as well as a field professional and consultant in those areas. So we're going to talk about strategic planning, because that's going to be that's going to be the foundation for any financial planning that we do in the future. Is we have to have a place to start from to know how to make those decisions that will be related to our financial plan. Oops. Okay. Oops. All right. You have to forgive me. I'm trying to get used to the speed and not click too much. So, all right. So when we think about the course of our, the everyday activities that we do, a lot of times we'll wake up in the morning and we'll come up with a tactical plan, meaning that we think about what needs to be done today. Is it going to be fencing? Is it going to be weeding? Is it going to be, planting? Is it going to be, moving the cattle to another pasture? But a lot of times we'll go kind of day to day with our planning. However, we have to ask ourselves, are these activities based on a strategic plan? In other words, if we want to make most effective use of our time and our energy, having a strategic plan in place is going to help us be more effective and get the things done, the really important things done that we need to get done. Oops, okay, I guess we're going to have to click that each time, I see. All right, and so when we're talking about taking a holistic approach to planning, and we'll talk about what that means here in just a little bit. In general, planning and any decisions that we make really involve an objective or a goal. And these goals and objectives require a context. And a context meaning what we do can mean something different in a different situation. And we all have a context. We have a context for the way we do business, the way we do life. For something that we say, it's set in context, meaning that the context is going to determine what the effect of that thing that we say or do is going to be. And so I want to talk a little bit about, simple versus complex in relationship to a context. When we're talking about a simple situation, we have a decision we need to make, and it's going to be based on a desire, a need, or to address a problem. And that's looking at things in the simplest sort of context. And we've had a lot of success, throughout human history in using just basic, simple decision-making, using a simple context. And those successes have been related to technology, to the things that are man-made. And those things are what we call complicated, okay? Complicated, it means something manufactured or some form of technology. And basically, we've created these things, we've studied all the parts, we know all about them, but if a part is missing in this machine or this technology, it will not work, as simple as that. but the problems that we may have are relatively easy to solve in that if we just replace the missing part or fix the part that's broken, then those things can be easily solved. Oh, okay. All right. We'll get this down yet. Click it every time. Hopefully.
Diane, I believe you have to give the mouse back to Sandy.
Yes, I'm not getting any response.
There, Sandy, you should have it again if you click on the screen. Great, thanks.
Okay. So the problems in technology and manufacturing are pretty easy to solve. Now, in the real world, though, there are other things that we manage, and those are relationships, natural resources and the environment, finances and economies, and these things are complex. And what I mean by that is that you know, the relationships, the things in the living organisms in nature and economies are more self-organizing, and meaning that oftentimes we will have things happen, whether it be in a relationship or a group of people or in the environment, things that happen that we don't expect because it is such a complex system, and we can't always predict what's going to happen. And so the problems that we come up with are often very extremely difficult to solve because of the complexity of those three areas. Relationships are the human component, social organizations, the second area being natural resources and the environment, and the third area being finances and economies. And those are areas where we really have gotten ourselves historically into a lot of trouble. And I just want to use an example of, you know, oftentimes we'll take something simple, a decision that we figure is pretty simple, like, you know, shall we buy a new pickup? And the context is that, well, we need to address a problem because we need to haul this or that. We don't have enough room in the car, or perhaps the old pickup is on its last tire. So we're doing that to address a problem, and that seems like a pretty simple decision to make. But however, we have those complex systems involved in there too. I mean, for instance, think about, you know, the family dynamics or the human dynamics that are going on there. Is when we buy a new pickup, it may increase our debt level, and so now we've got payments, you know, to make every month in addition to the usual bills we have to pay. And it also can create some stress in the relationship as well, because maybe someone made that decision and, you know, didn't discuss it in detail. So there are a lot of unintended consequences that can occur as a result of making what seems to be a very simple decision.